Hey, Emmet, how are you?
Good. How are you, Benoit?
Very good, very good. Nice to see you, of course, as always.
Nice to see you as well. How's everything?
Yeah, well, it is what it is. It's a difficult and weird situation, and we have to adapt to it. How have you adapted to this situation? First of all, how are you, and where are you?
In Harlem, in New York City, actually, in the hotbed of it all. Which is, it's you read about it in the newspaper, and it seems really bad, but you don't. When you step outside, you don't realize that you're in the center of all that stuff. Harlem is very community based. There's a lot of people out on the streets. Restaurants and different coffee shops and stuff are still open, just for takeout and stuff like that. So it's it's still popping and still people out and the weather's nice and it's been very community oriented vibe up here, for better or for worse. Everyone with masks and everything, but and everyone home and on top of each other. So I'm sensitive to how much I play the piano in here every day, and I just practice 8 bars for 2 hours, and hope praying that the neighbors don't hate me. But that's what's going on. Obviously, everything's canceled basically until October for
Right.
me. So it was a wake up call at first, and it was very disheartening at first and very surprising at first. But now I think it's the reality. Everybody in the whole world is in a similar situation, and the risks everywhere in the world are similar. And so I just take it one day at a time, realize that, and know that the whole world is in this together, and that I'm not special or selfish or anything like that. It's just the way things are now, and so what other choice do we have than to adapt? So that's the other thing you asked me about, was how I've adapted. I do play piano. I watched Sullivan Fortner and Cecile McLaurin Salvant give a concert the first week of the quarantine, and what it did for people, and it uplifted people, and it brought people together, and it was the sense of community, and they were taking requests, and it was just like a very cool informal vibe. And I said, why don't we do one of these for our people? We've been traveling the country um, for years and years and years, and staying in touch with people, and have a wide reach. Why don't we do this for the people that have been supporting us? So it came more from that angle, like, what can we do for these people that have been there for us for all this time, that may need something like this in this time. And so we gave a concert, and I said, well, the sound isn't very good and the video isn't very good, so each week, and the internet connection's not really good, so week after week I would improve one thing. And we're musicians, the most important thing is sound. So I went and researched some microphones and asked around some friends, and they told me this microphone is good on the piano, this microphone is good on the bass, this is what we use for the drums, when we only use one mic on the drums, and put it through a mixer, and got some sound, and worked on it very hard, and figured out the program on the Mac computer that you can download to stream, and you feed the audio into there, and then I have a way of hooking up my iPhone for the video camera, and then putting it into the software. So then you have the audio coming into the software, the video coming into the software, and then I would upload that to Facebook and YouTube. But then I realized that the internet connection wasn't strong enough, and that you need an Ethernet cable if you want to if you want to stream properly. So it was a lot of trial and error, a lot of researching, a lot of calling people and asking, a lot of watching random YouTube videos that you're like, is this going to have the answer in it? All right, I watched 20 minutes and wasted my time. A lot of staying up all night and just doing research, and trying to figure it out.
I sure do.
Well, first, let me just say that I'm also very lucky to be in Harlem. And my band, Kyle Poole and Russell Hall, they live literally next door down, I could go outside and throw a rock and hit Kyle's door. So we flew back from Canada, and we've been quarantining together since the beginning. you know, and as a, you know, little bubble, and sometimes they'll stay here and some, you know, we'll hang out all night and we'll play and we'll do whatever we do. And that's just, you know, how it was. And there was a little bit of backlash at first, saying, oh, you can't do this, you can do this. But, you know, the rules are so blurred, they're so unclear, everything is uncertain. And, you know, you could go crazy just being alone for 10 weeks, 70 days in quarantine, 100 days in quarantine, whatever it takes. So that's, you know, that's why we were to get, that's why we are together, and we were together, and, you know, we're a family essentially. So you know, the business model for the band starts with that, like the band is a family.
Right.
um, and
But
so
what I'm saying is like the subscription model that you have is
oh
pretty cool. And
yeah.
is it working well for you? How are you doing?
That's so, you know, this thing happened, and I had always planned in the back of my mind to say, you know, I wanted to do some kind of subscription based membership. First of all, because the whole world is trending to a subscription model. You know, you can go online and you can find like a vinyl subscription where they send you something every month, or you know, I used to subscribe to a candle box where they'd send you a candle every single month, and they would pick it for you, and, you know, you just get something. And I thought, you know, it'd be really cool to do that, some musical version of that. You know, there are a lot of people all over the country. We don't visit them frequently. You know, what if I, you know, put something and, you know, send it out every month? And so that was always an idea in the back of my head. And then all of a sudden, every gig was canceled and everything was canceled. And I said, well, I finally have time to implement this stuff. So I redid the website with a friend of mine with some help, and then started this subscription thing on Squarespace. And I looked around and I saw, you know, there's Patreon, which a lot of people are doing. There's bands in town. There's a few other options, but I thought it would be cool to just do something separate from all that, and just do something on my website, you know, just in case it didn't work out, just in case, you know, it wasn't right. They take a lot of commission for those websites as
Right.
well. And so, you know, I just decided to build out something on my website and test it and see if it worked. And, you know, there's a few people in every city that like us, and I said, you know, maybe it's just a few people that want to support, and you know, I can give some things to the people, you know, that for doing it. So I got vinyl records in the works for one of my latest trio records, and it's super delayed because of all this stuff, but I think people understand. Anyway, so that's like one gift that I'll give to every subscriber. I'll mail them that. And you know, so there's a lot of overhead. And, you know, the idea behind the thing is that when I put out a record, everyone's, you know, I'm trying to sell this record. um, you know, it would be just better to have, you know, people that subscribe, and then when I come out with a record, I just mail them the record, and it's like they've already bought it.
Right.
uh, and so then I don't have, then it's less work on my end to try to like hustle the record and try to, you know, you know, sell individual copies of this thing. I know that these are the people that want it, and they automatically get it, and it just saves a lot of time and hassle. Yeah, I also have some stuff in the archives. I've had a cool concert with Houston Person, hour and 40-minute concert that we did that was videoed nicely. So, you know, I released one track on YouTube, and then I put the, you know, the whole thing in there. So, you know, there's some incentives. And I took a yoga. I'm taking yoga now with the studio that's doing like a similar thing with member access. So all the classes that they do online, they just archive them and put them in this database. And so basically all the concerts I'm doing, you know, I'm doing some private concerts and stuff. And so I'll take all the concerts and I'll put them in the database, and whoever wants to watch, you know, can see the concert from May 13th, or see the concert from May 7th, or April 29th, or whatever it is, and, you know, go back in there and have a bunch of things to explore if they want to. I think there is also going to be a time in the not too distant future where things, you know, open back up, and you'll be able to see people, but you won't be able to have concerts and gigs. And so one of the things you could do is have a band or a group in your space, and then live stream that concert.
So,
If you can weather the storm, then I think, you know, there's going to be a great need and great requirement for live music and for all that stuff. But it's just going to take some time, and it's so like, you know, you want to do what you can in the meantime to survive until, you know, a year from now it's the thing, in the past 2 years from now it's almost back to normal. 3 years from now, no one even remembers. And
Right,
it
right.
seems like a long time, in the moment, but when you look back, on years and years and years
Yeah.
of history and of careers, and talking to someone like the jazz masters who I hang out with, and learn from, there was always times like this where things were really messed up, or things didn't work out,
Yeah.
or
The
people lost.
strike in the 40s and that stuff. So where can people join if they want to join your subscribe to your service? Where should they go?
It's right on my website on emmetcohen.com.
Okay. So
And
everybody just go to emmetcohen.com and sign up.
yeah,
And then the other thing I want to talk to you about is because, of course, we're doing this right now. There's a timing to this because we're going to show your last concert here at Timucua on Sunday night. And
beautiful.
so I'd like you to talk about, first of all, like the trio was a little bit different for that portion of the tour, I think.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about that. Like, so playing with a trio is is a very iconic and but very like unique, special, especially the way you do it. So how do you adapt to a different bass player? You knew the person, obviously,
Yeah.
you knew the player. So tell us about that.
Well, I think you always have to just keep in mind that you want to play with who you're playing with,
Right.
and a lot of times we can get in this thing where we play with the band, and then all of a sudden it's not the band, and we don't know what to do because we had this intention. And so one of the things to do is to just break down those intentions and break down those preconceived notions, and say, I'm going to make music with these people in this space in this time. And so we had a little rehearsal. I gave them some things to learn, and you know the way I run my band is that we have a vast repertoire, hundreds of songs, hundreds of arrangements, hundreds of things. Some of them are my compositions, but some of them are, classics. We play a bunch of Duke Ellington, we play a bunch of Thelonious Monk, we play a bunch of Bud Powell, we play a bunch of Horace Silver, we also play some Stevie Wonder, and we play and just all of the, we play all the music we love, really. I'll play Ahmad Jamal arrangements, or I'll play a version of a classical piece of music. I'll play early jazz thing by Jelly Roll Morton or Scott Joplin. And so there's this range of music, and anyone that knows what we do, I can just say, this is all the stuff we do. What do you want to do from that? And then they can pick kind of what speaks to them also. And then it's kind of meeting halfway a little bit. If we meet halfway on some Duke Ellington, or we meet halfway on some Thelonious Monk or Louis Armstrong or something like that, then I'll give, there's a few things that are like showstoppers, or that are like big time arrangements that might be good to have somewhere in there. It might be good to be really solid on a ballad, because everyone's really exposed on something slow, and make sure that the changes are just right, so we can get that the feeling of togetherness. Um, and so there are just little hitches that you want to grab onto, at least when you play in the trio format, because there's only three people, so everyone's hopefully contributing equally and contributing ideas. And I always say to anyone who's substituting or who's coming in, and not so regular, to that, I want some ideas. I want you to give me something. Ron Carter always says, I try to play and make everyone play something different every single night. And that's like really the key, just finding those moments in the music. And I remember that concert, and Dion Keith Kerr's on bass, and he's someone that I spent a lot of my formative years at University of Miami making music with, and playing various arrangements and listening to music. If you listen to music with the people you play with, it gives you this common vocabulary of how things could go. So if we listen to Miles Davis's group, especially piano, we're talking piano and bass and drums right now, the trio, how did Red Garland and Philly Joe Jones and Paul Chambers play this tune together? What was their concept? How did the next great quintet, well, there were a few other rhythm sections in there: Bill Evans, Wynton Kelly, Jimmy Cobb. But how did Tony Williams, Ron Carter, and Herbie Hancock deal with the music? And so then all of a sudden we have this language that we can take and draw from different eras of the history. Use that, if we want to, as a jumping off point, and then be completely ourselves within that. And so that's a way that I run my band and my concept, and I think that it helps, create that gel, to bring people together if we haven't played in a while or that much.
All right. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. I hope that a lot of people watch that concert online on Sunday night, but also that a lot of people subscribe to your to your stuff. And so I wish you the best of luck.
If anyone else wants to see us, we play Monday nights on YouTube and Facebook at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, which is New York time or Orlando time. And that concert's free to anyone, and it's always a good time. Next Monday, I'm turning 30.
Happy birthday, man!
Subscription will be a birthday present.
Yeah, I was 30 once. Good times, man. Thank you so much for talking to me, and I cannot wait to see you guys again.
Benoit, thanks so much, and keep up the great work. And I hope everyone supports Timucua. It's a wonderful place, and let me know if you need to want to work together in the future on anything digital.
Absolutely. Thank you, man.
My pleasure. Take care.
Take care.